Imagine a sport where athletes tie themselves to an 1,800-pound animal bred to buck them off, and then try to hang on for 8 chaotic, violent seconds. The crowd roars, dust flies, limbs flail, and sometimes bones break. Now try fitting that into the Olympic Games. Bull riding is one of the most dangerous, most adrenaline-fueled sports on the planet. It's got everything the Olympics claim to love: strength, courage, balance, international competition. And yet, despite being practiced across the world and boasting millions of fans, bull riding has never even come close to the Olympic stage. And it probably never will. This is the brutal truth behind why bull riding will never be an Olympic sport. Let's get into it.
You want to see?
First off, let's start with the basics. The Olympics aren't just about who can do the most daring or dangerous thing. They're about standardization, fairness, and image. Every sport that makes it into the Olympics has to follow strict criteria laid out by the International Olympic Committee, or IOC. There are more than 70 factors the IOC considers when adding a sport. Some of the big ones? How widely it's practiced across the globe, whether it has a recognized international governing body, if it's gender inclusive, and crucially, how well it fits with the Olympic spirit. That last one? That's where bull riding hits a brick wall. Because while the Olympic Games may be about athleticism and passion, they're also about image. And bull riding, however thrilling, isn't exactly camera-friendly in the way the IOC wants it to be. Let's break it down. To even be considered for the Olympics, the sport needs to be practiced widely by both men and women in at least 75 countries across 4 continents. Now sure, bull riding is huge in the US and Brazil. It's growing fast in Mexico, Canada, and Australia. But beyond that, things get thin, fast. In Europe, bull riding barely exists. In Asia, it's almost unheard of. In Africa, next to nothing. And the problem isn't just the participation, it's also governance. The PBR, Professional Bull Riders, is the biggest bull riding organization in the world, but it's not structured like most international Olympic-style federations. It's a private company, not a non-profit governing body. That alone is a huge issue when trying to meet the IOC's strict standards. Rodeo as a whole does have governing bodies, like the PRCA, the IPRA in the US, and various national associations elsewhere. But there's no single, unified international bull riding federation that oversees rules, safety, and eligibility on a global scale. That kind of structure is mandatory for the Olympics. Without it, there's no chance.
Davis does it! He got tossed and then trampled.
This is the big one. Nothing disqualifies bull riding from Olympic contention faster than the issue of animal rights. The Olympic Games are desperate to avoid controversy. Sports that rely on animals, like equestrian events, are already under scrutiny, and that's despite having centuries of tradition, rigorous welfare protocols, and relatively low injury rates. Now contrast that with bull riding. An animal bred to buck is placed into a chute, cinched with a flank strap, and exploded into an arena, thrashing wildly while a rider tries to stay on. To fans, it's an adrenaline rush. To critics, it's cruelty. Organizations like PETA have gone after rodeos for decades. Whether or not those accusations are fair, the reality is this: the perception of animal mistreatment is toxic to the Olympic brand. Even if bull riders treat their bulls better than most people treat their pets, even if those bulls are prized, pampered athletes themselves, it doesn't matter. All it takes is a slow-motion replay of a bull slamming into the ground or a clip of a flank strap being pulled tight, and the public relations nightmare begins. And the IOC, they don't want that smoke. The safety issue. Olympic sports need to be thrilling, but they also need to be safe. Look at sports like gymnastics, BMX, boxing, or skiing. Every one of them has high injury risk, but they all have international safety protocols, strict age minimums, and detailed medical oversight. Bull riding, on the other hand, it's a calculated risk sport with a reputation for chaos. Broken jaws, concussions, crushed ribs, spinal injuries, punctured lungs. This isn't rare. This is weekly on the PBR Tour. Some of the best riders in the world, men like J.B. Mooney, Silvano Alves, Jose Vaterleme, have all racked up laundry lists of injuries, and tragically, riders like Mason Lowe and Lane Frost have lost their lives doing this. The IOC knows this, and so does the public. Now ask yourself, would the Olympics really risk having a global audience watch someone get gored or killed in front of 2 billion people? I didn't think so.
You want to see explosive? Hit the rewind button.
Here's another issue: scoring. Olympic sports need standardized, objective scoring systems. Take figure skating, diving, or gymnastics. Those sports have judges, yeah, but they follow incredibly detailed criteria. Every twist, every fault, every deduction is recorded. Bull riding? It's part science, part art, and part gut feeling. Riders are scored out of 100. Half the points go to the bull, half to the rider. But here's the thing: no two judges ever see the same ride the same way. There's constant debate over bias, favoritism, and inconsistency. Some rides go viral for the wrong reasons: underrated, overscored, or just plain weird. In short, bull riding doesn't offer the kind of scoring consistency the IOC demands. Without a fully transparent, data-driven, globally agreed-upon judging system, there's no shot. Bull riding has deep roots in Western cowboy culture, and that's part of what makes it so iconic, but also what limits its reach. To the average viewer in Tokyo, Berlin, or Nairobi, bull riding isn't just unfamiliar, it's downright alien, and that creates a massive barrier to global understanding and appeal. Olympic sports thrive when people from all over the world can connect to them. They don't need to be experts, but they need to get it. With bull riding, there's a steep learning curve. What makes one bull ranker than the other? Why did that ride score 88 instead of 91? Why is the flank strap allowed? Why does the ride end at 8 seconds? Without that understanding, you lose the audience. But here's the thing: bull riding doesn't need the Olympics.
Said it, one of, if not the greatest ever, and you see exactly why. Comes crashing down.
It's already got something better. The PBR World Finals sells out stadiums. Riders are household names in countries like Brazil and the US. Events are broadcast on CBS, ESPN, and streaming platforms worldwide. There's a fan base that's diehard, loyal, and growing fast. And most importantly, it's real. It's not sanitized, corporate, or neutered for Olympic TV. It's raw, it's violent, it's unpredictable. That's what makes it magnetic. Putting bull riders in the Olympics would mean changing it, softening it, dressing it up, packaging it for polite global consumption. And maybe that's the final reason bull riding will never be an Olympic sport. Because it doesn't want to be. Let's do a quick recap of everything working against bull riding making the Olympics. It's not practiced widely enough outside the Americas. It lacks a global governing body. The animal rights debate makes it radioactive for Olympic image. The injury risk is too high for a risk-adverse IOC. The scoring is too subjective for international fairness. And culturally, it's just too Western. But even if all those things changed, even if the PBR suddenly became a non-profit, even if bull riding exploded across Asia and Europe, it still wouldn't make the cut. Because bull riding isn't about fitting in. It's about standing out. It's the sport of outlaws, of grit, pain, and stubborn defiance. It was born in dust and sweat, not in clean white stadiums with 5 rings on the wall. Take a moment to picture this. The Olympic opening ceremony. Flags waving, fireworks. The announcer says, and now, bull riding. A chute gate cracks open. A 1,700-pound bull launches into the arena. A cowboy flies through the air. Medics run out. It's chaos. It's dangerous. It's unforgettable.
Marco, broken ribs and all, battling through, and woo-wee!
But it's not the Olympics, and that's exactly why it'll always be its own thing. Bull riding doesn't need medals. It's already got legends.